Readiness is a myth. You only get ready by acting, not waiting. In a moment, I'm going to share a story with you about how a Beanie Baby cost me over $100,000. Remember those little plush bears back in the 90s? True story. I'm going to share that with you, how an actual little bear cost me a significant amount of opportunity, of provision, and so on, as we'll talk about. I'm recording this and we got 60 days left, almost to the day, 60 days left of 2025. And the reason why this is on my heart, kind of woke up with this thought, if you will, is that we see this all the time, where we get into the last quarter of a year and people start to delay action into the next year. It's a myth. It's a problem. It costs you opportunity. I'm going to share 4 or 5 different things to just consider, to think about and pray about as a believer, especially if you're considering starting a business coaching practice, or you're considering taking your leadership, your experience, all the years of maybe managing people, spreadsheets, leading, OO, COO, or CEO rather, VP, sales VP, owning your own business, previous military leadership experience, and so on. If you're in that season and then some, this whole idea of waiting actually will cost you significantly. Okay, it's something that I've dealt with and faced many, many years. I'm going to kind of share a few things transparently, just upon what I've learned in that discovery, okay? But here's the reality. If you're waiting until you're ready to move into the next chapter of your life, my belief is you're going to be waiting for a very long time. And here's why. We oftentimes believe that we have to be more prepared. We oftentimes believe that there's something that I don't have yet, that when I have it, then I'll be ready. I'll never forget, we've been married 31 years. And so asking my dad one time about, how do you know that, this other individual, this, woman that I believe God's placed in my life, how do you know when it's time to say, I believe this person is for me, right? Like, I'll never forget that feeling that I went through, and wondering and waiting, like, is this the time? Should I do it now? Should we wait 3 months from now? Should I ask in a year, right? And reality is that waiting simply just, it prolongs. And here's what it also does, is that when we push things off and wait too long, we have obstacles and roadblocks that will come in the way that actually will push it out even further. This week, we've got 2 different individuals who have hit us up and messages, said, hey, talked to you guys a while back about business coaching. I wish I would have kind of done something, when I talked to you last year, or, whatever it was, but I am ready to kind of move. I think I want to move forward now, right? Both of them have said the same thing. They're regretting that they did not take action by doing it right now. Here's a lie of readiness. One, that in God's economy, obedience comes before readiness. That's not a lie, but the part of it is we believe that we have to push it off to be ready. However, from a person of faith, as a believer, it's more about obedience than it is about readiness. Think about it just for a moment. Moses, he wasn't ready to confront Pharaoh. There was no manual. Okay, now I'm prepared. I can go fight, right? David, probably one of the best descriptions, in my opinion, of not only not feeling ready, but also not being prepared. He wasn't ready to face this massive giant, but he followed in obedience. Peter wasn't ready to lead the church. There was no YouTube video. There was no manual, but he acted in faith. And today, regardless of where you are, you're asking for God's wisdom. You're asking for people to come into your life to speak, into that, to give you exposure to what's possible, the opportunities that might lie for you and your family, and the ways that you can make a significant impact as a business coach and become well paid. You cannot steer a parked car. But I know that what I've gone through in my own life, I've got multiple stories where I missed God's opportunity for me. Here I am praying about it, thinking about it, processing, talking to people, whatever. Opportunity shows up, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure if I'm really ready. And then all of a sudden, opportunity vanishes because I've yet to follow through and be obedient to what God had in store for me, which I'm going to share about in a very unique way. And the reason why we wait, at least in my opinion, is we feel that it provides more safety. And we don't recognize the harm and the danger of what the waiting actually does, because it has an opportunity to prolong your destiny. It has an opportunity to prolong provision. And it's not that it's all about money, but you got to have a home. You have to have food. But even bigger than that, it's an opportunity of obedience to give back. Maybe it's your church. Maybe it's other organizations. Maybe it's just somewhere in the community you feel very drawn and called to being able to make a part of impact, but it takes provision to help those organizations. So when you have more provision, you can give more as well. And so back in somewhere in the mid-90s, can't remember what year it was, we had two businesses at the time. And one of them was a party supply business. And in that party supply, we carried all kinds of things. So you can think about what today all your big box retailers, your Walmart, your Targets, your grocery stores, or whatever, they've got plates, cups, napkins, themed things. Well, back in the 90s, you didn't really see that in big box retailers. So we were a specialty boutique shop, and we carried all kinds of different things for anniversaries, for parties, for weddings, you name it. Kind of covered the whole gamut. And one of the reps that repped some of the products in the store, we developed a personal relationship. Her daughter worked for us, and just really good individual. And one day she came by and she said, "I've got something I want to talk to you about that's going to be huge." Okay. I'm like, okay. That was on the phone. She comes to my office, and she starts saying, "Listen, I'm gonna share something with you that nobody else really knows yet, that I'm gonna be repping in the entire state. Okay. There's no way I can do it on my own." Now, she sets this up to present an opportunity to me. All the while, we had some disclarity on the first business we owned because it really wasn't ever designed to be long-term. But it was becoming longer term, but I didn't really know what that was going to look like. And we were talking about shutting it down. But if we did shut that down, how are we going to shift money around and da-da-da-da-da? There were some opportunities inside the second business that we owned to do some rentals, like tables, tents, this, that, and the other. And I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do either one of them. And so we were praying about it, talking about it, processing, like where's some opportunities and so on. So here she comes in, this rep comes into my office and has this conversation. She said, "Now, don't laugh." Now, that's how she started the convo. "Don't laugh, because what I'm going to show you, you may not believe me, but this is going to be huge, and you're going to have an opportunity to make a significant amount of money." She reached down in a bag, pulls out this little Beanie Baby. Remember those? This little Beanie Baby, this little bear, and said, "This is going to take the place just by storm. Everybody's they're collector's editions, this, that, blah, 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 blah." She goes on to this dissertation about how this is going to be amazing, whatever. And so here I am looking at this bear, and this is the same company that's repping this bear is the one who created Barney. If you remember the purple dinosaur, how big that was kind of the setup. You see how big Barney was, Beanie Babies are going to be the next thing. Well, in an arrogant way, I just simply could not wrap my brain around any of that whole thing. And I said, "No, thank you. I don't have time to do that." Here's the synopsis. I ran into her a few weeks later, not even probably a month ago, and she convinced her oldest son to help her. His first commission check, now this was in 95, 96, somewhere around there, 97. His first commission check was $17,000. I want you to think about that. So what's the point? No doubt, I believe to this day, and no one can convince me elsewise, that God placed that opportunity in me because I had been praying for just the word opportunity, figuring out but I got in the way of the whole thing, and that waiting cost me. He ended up making well into the six figures that first very year. That could have solved some significant issues we were dealing with in business, as well as a young married couple. We started our very first business the month before we got married. I don't encourage that as premarital counseling for anybody, by the way. That's just not the roadmap I would give most people. But it could have solved things. Now, we went on there was some turbulence. And so my lack of obedience caused me to miss an opportunity that I believe think about it. How many times you get an opportunity that a bear, a plush, is going to provide that kind of provision, right? And who knows? Other businesses I could have started because of that. And so I'm living proof of the delays of what the cost of waiting can do. Last couple of points: faith in motion. Hebrews chapter 11 is full. You can go read it yourself. If you've never read Hebrews 11, you can go, and if you have, you can go back and read it again. Full of people who took action before they saw any results. Now, in a world of online, like you're probably watching this online, maybe on YouTube or on your phone, or who knows, right? So we've got all this online noise right now, and will be for the rest of my working career in life. Yet we hear this word results, and we've convinced ourselves now, and we've actually had people who are curious about working with us who will say things like, "If you can guarantee me results, then I'll do it. And it's like, well, there's nothing in life works that way. But the noise and honestly, the hypocrisy of just content has convinced us and allowed us to believe that we should be able to see results before we take any type of activity. And as a person of faith, I don't believe that that's really like, I did not act in obedience to take action in that story about the Beanie Baby because I got my own way. And I just do believe that at some level, God sometimes says, look, you've been praying, you asked for wisdom, you asked for, input from other people. Here, I put somebody in your path. But because of your narrow-mindedness and honestly just self-absorption, you're unwilling to see the very next step to go find the provision that I have for you, whatever that word provision may mean for you. And so Hebrews is full of all kinds of people who took action before they actually saw any kind of results. Belief isn't just a function of the brain. Because taking action, even as a person of faith, requires belief. That's the whole part of the word faith. Faith in activity, in action before results, is an investment of your heart that fundamentally, as far as I'm concerned, it fundamentally can change the way you live. It can change your relationship with Jesus. It can change the relationship of how you operate, because we know that maybe it didn't work out this way. And maybe it didn't work out that way, but it did work out over here because that's the one God's moving you one step closer to. And I don't know about you, but in my own world, I can look back at things that I would celebrate as a win or activity, like positive activity. All of them, honestly, weren't the goals and the things that I set out to do. They were the directions that I believe that I was supposed to move into, but then God came in and did something totally different. And I believe that's the whole part of faith. So in your world today, you may have invitations to act, and it's just up to you. Every single one of us have to stand up and take a step forward to make an investment into your personal future without seeing any type of result or knowing exactly what the path is going to look like. Don't take it from me. Go use ChatGPT to give you every story in the Bible that proves that very thing. It's not about me. It's just I am attempting, probably like you, to take a step of faith in areas of my life, even when I don't understand the outcome. And so as you look at that from a professional perspective, as a believer and a Christ follower, as you take that whole concept and you put it into to this professional bucket, you want to make an impact with other people. Like in our case, one of the biggest reasons why I'm motivated to build a business coaching network with nearly 100 coaches around the country is because we want to make an investment to businesses and business owners to help them grow their business so they can hire better, so that they can pay people better, so they can invest more in their community, their churches, and so on, so that they can, have the gospel straight in front and center inside their businesses so that they can be a truly a marketplace ministry, as I call it. But none of that happens if we don't take a step of faith. And it's just going to require activity. So that's the invitation for you. You may have gotten this video or got this training. You might be on our list. Maybe you're one of our coaches. I don't know. And you're considering taking a step of faith. So you might be one of a couple places. You're one of our coaches. You're actually on our team. You own a business. You've been a VP, sales, whatever. But you really haven't taken a step forward and put in and just kind of sank a little bit into the mud because of a certainty. I want to encourage you today to take that step of faith, to go beyond the discomfort, because that's what it does require. You want to be a person of influence, as John Maxwell talks about all the time. You really want to truly lead influentially. You got to do what most people are unwilling to do. And then the next part of that is you've been paying attention to what we do from afar, but you really do want to take at 2026, you want this to be your year as a strategist, as a consultant, as a coach. You don't have the structure, systems, tools, and so on. You see what we do, and you're very curious about it. Here's what you can do today. Here's the activity and the action step that you can take today. Is simply book a quick chat. We call it an Explore the Systems chat. We'll just show you what we do. We'll show you our tools, our resources. We give you everything that you need from A to Z on how to build relationships, to add value. That's the leads, prospects, and process, and how to convert those that you're talking to into ongoing high-paying monthly clients. And the third, how to coach them to get results with simplicity. We've got some brand new tools around that too. They're absolutely amazing. All right. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com, or click on a button in an email or on the video description as well, and to schedule a time. That way you can just determine if you believe that this might fit your story for 2026 and beyond in helping people develop regardless. At the end of the day, don't fall into the trap, into the myth of readiness. The only way you get ready is to act. Take care.